Good afternoon, welcome. Here it's Giulia Maci, urban specialist at Cities Alliance. I'm leading the work on gender equality and women empowerment in cities. I'm of course speaking from home as our guest today. We are going through a very difficult situation, which will have unknown outcomes. And while we have to respond quickly to this emergency and limit the spread of the virus globally, and especially in the most fragile places, we have also to start to think collectively and long term about also the consequence of this crisis. So for instance, consider the underlying inequality that this situation is revealing. And these inequalities are also gender inequalities. So women are the most economic vulnerable in many places, are the main caregivers, the ones that are more exposed to the virus and health issues, and are also exposed to domestic violence. So talking about gender equality and women empowerment today is key even more in times of quarantine. So the webinar today is an opportunity to exchange on the particular situation of women in Tunisia. We have planned this webinar before even that this emergency started. Tunisia is a country that is particularly important for Cities Alliance. It's where we have an office, and we are also starting a program now focusing on women leadership at the local level, inclusive city planning, and dedicated infrastructure made for women and with women. So the webinar today looks at how women have contributed to Tunisia's change, political change, and the struggle to achieve democracy, and what are the current challenges and opportunity in advancing women's participation and empowerment in the country. We have today with us Widad Bouchamawi, which is the co-winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2015. She has been elected president of the Tunisia Confederacy of Industry, Trade and Handcraft, UTICA, in May 2011. She was the first woman elected to this position in the Arab world. And as a member of the National Dialogue Quartet, she played an historic role in helping the country, Tunisia, navigate through a time of crisis and change during the Arab Spring. Widad Bouchamawi also declined 3 times, I read, the offer to become prime minister in order to keep her independence. So I think she's really the right person to talk to us about the role of women and the change also of women's condition in Tunisia. And then we have Sonia Ben, which is the head of communication of Aswat Nissa, which is a Tunisian NGO that promotes women's participation in the political and policy-making spheres and fights against all forms of gender-based discrimination and violence. Aswat Nissa is a partner of Cities Alliance in a project that supports elected women in local council and also promote gender-sensitive municipal finance. So welcome, both of you, Madame Bouchamawi and Madame Ben.
Welcome. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
I would like to start with Madame Bouchamawi, asking first of all about the Tunisian Revolution. The webinar today is calling Beyond the Revolution. So looking back at 2010, 2011, can you tell us what was unique about this period and what was also your role in that process?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Maci. I'm so glad to be with you today. Unfortunately, all of us are working from our home, but I'd like just to focus on one more thing. What we did in Tunisia is something, exceptional. And as Tunisia is, young country, but we started the revolution, and I think we started our success there. There are many points and many reasons for that. First, we are the first Arab Muslim country to adopt a constitution in the modern sense of the term. in 56, and the emancipation of Tunisian women also it was fundamental for this. The Tunisian civil society has also played an important role. The young people also, those are focal and very important things that that allowed us to succeed on this. I'd like also to underline, particularly the contribution of the Tunisian youth, because they took the seats without a leader and without being supervised. They were there just to claim for democracy, for dignity, and for jobs. So those are the three main pillars for this success of Tunisian. And we was in the dictator in Tunisia, before 2011, and now we are really in democracy. I'd like also to focus on the role of Tunisian women, as we are, maybe not different, but we have very important, and very unique status that we are, as Tunisian women, we have all our rights, and we did with, we were there everywhere, and we still working to be also, as we represent the heart of the population, present, and to be more involved for in all our transition. Talking, I don't know if it's I'm allowed now to talk about my role, what we did as civil society. To maintain and to be under the success of this revolution. I was elected as a Tunisian, president for this UTK. It was for me, something which is, of course, is a big and a great honor for me to be the first and ever woman to be elected at such a key position in my country and in the Arab world. And for me, it's a high responsibility in the civil society. And what I did with my colleagues in the quartet, we said that it was the last chance for our country, the last chance of the history of democracy in Tunisia, and we should do something for our country. And in the beginning of 2030, it was a black year in Tunisia, and it was scared that the social tension, a deterioration of our economy, crisis, and political murders. And for us, it was very important to do something, and we had to save the country from a real collapse. So we started first the social dialogue. We started the social dialogue with our partner, the union, and after, of course, we followed this by the national dialogue with the other organization, the National Order of Lawyers and the Tunisian Human Rights League, and we decided to work together. This experience was first and foremost a collective initiative, where each player reacted with patriotism and good sense, pushing his own interests aside and working for the country. What we did is just for our country. It's very difficult to explain in simple words how the long journey was landmarked, as you can imagine, with the paradoxes, with inconveniences, and with the intense moments shared with the members of the quartet. It was not easy because we were at this moment elected by our members, and we didn't have the legitimacy to speak in the behalf of the politicians. But what we did is we chose very simple way, which was the dialogue, and we invited politicians to be to sit together and to be with us and to find the solution for Tunisia. And we implemented the roadmap for Tunisia.
And you were also in dialogue with your members, or
yes, yes.
So it was both with your members and with the other members of the quartet.
Yes, this Tunisian quartet, I mean, is composed by 4 organizations from the civil society, and we did this without any thought of to be, I mean, in the first place. What we did is just to save our revolution, to be, I mean, the voice of the civil society, and I mean to finalize what people and what the youth asked for: democracy, dignity, and jobs.
But what was the event that made you start in this process? There was a specific event?
Yes, it was, I mean, in the beginning, when we got in 2013, when we got 2, I mean, political assassination. The first one, it was in the 6th of February in 2013. The activist Shukri Belaid was assassinated, and the second one, it was the 25th of July, when one parliamentary, Mohammed Ibrahim, also was assassinated in front of his house. And it was, I mean, we got the declic at this time, and we started the real national dialogue. We started in 25th of July. We were together as 4 members, and we decided to write, I mean, a kind of communique, just to say to people to be, I mean, to keep the calm, and we'll be there just to find solution. And it was, I mean, it was the, let's say, the first day of our national dialogue.
And then this took almost 2 years.
No, less. I mean, it took approximately 6 months, because, you know, we got in January, I mean, a new government, and when we got this, I mean, because it was one of the axes of points of our roadmap, is how to have, I mean, technocrat members of the government, and they have to, I mean, the parliamentaries, they should finish our constitution. When we got everything which was written on our roadmap, we said, okay, now you are there. We have to, I mean, to take care about our country, and of course we left, I mean, this dialogue. So we started on 25th of July, and we finished in the second week of January.
January, and now
2014, yes.
Yeah. So now it's 2020. So already some years passed. So yes. What do you think is left of this moment, of this revolution today?
First, I mean, we choose a dialogue. It's very important. I mean, if we have to see what was happening in the area, in the region, we choose the right way. I mean, we didn't choose the civil war. We didn't choose, I mean, we didn't, I mean,
the confrontation. Yeah,
confrontation. That's it. Yes, yeah. That's it. It was very important. Now we are really a very democratic country. We have a free media. We can express ourselves. We have also, I mean, a new constitution, which I mean guarantees the rights of a human. But you know what is still now what we have to work on, and what is still remaining is of course the economic part, how we can create more jobs, how we can have a better economic environment and business environment. This is what we should work on. And you know, it's a new democracy, and we got many governments, I mean, till those years. And now it's, I mean, our main, I think it's, for me, it's our main thing, main and important priority is how we can respond to the youth, and how we can to offer more prosperity in our country.
But you mentioned also the role of women, no, in this process.
Yes, yes.
But of course, looking also at this experience, you said it was through dialogue, this was through mediation, and the women plays a big role. But of course, Tunisia, this is also historically, but the reasons are also historical, no, because has been always a pioneer, no, in the region in terms of gender equality and women's rights. So you mentioned also the 1956, no, the Code of Personal Status.
Yes.
Very advanced laws at the moment. You know, you had the divorce already included, the abolition of polygamy, exactly, and then the consent also, the requirement of consent of both parties to marriage, and the custody also for mother of children. So this was for sure, maybe it helped almost the possibility to be vigilant and present also during the transition. What do you think?
You know, Tunisian women participate massively in the demonstrations. They are calling for democratic chances. You know, we have bloggers, journalists, activists, trade unionists, students, mothers. Everybody was mobilized, and the women, they took to the streets to demand freedom and dignity for all. And the involvement of more women during this Arab Spring, it went beyond the direct participation in the protests. We can include their role in organizing and directing events. They were, as well as cyber activism, women, I mean, they have got the attention of the world, the Tunisian one, because as you said, we have a particular and unique personal status, but also they were more present, and they were in all different sectors. They were present, and the women works in different sectors. And for us also, it was very important, I mean, to protect our women's right to be there, and to say to the political body, to political party, that you have to keep our rights. Besides that, we need to have more rights and to be equal to men. I think it's very important what we did, and the role of women is crucial it was crucial, and it's still crucial now, to manage differently our country.
But did you, I mean, I can imagine the moment of transition and change, you were afraid that you could lose also some of these rights, and you could also immediately after, during the constitutional drafting, so there was a kind of fear also about losing a position.
Yeah. You know, when they were discussing, I mean, the new constitution, you know, we got, I mean, an Islamist party, and they tried to change, but you know, it's thanks to men and to women. They were in the streets, and they asked for not to keep our rights. And I think this role of the civil society was, I mean, crucial, and was very important at this time. And even for us as the quartet, we played a big and very important role, I mean, to keep the rights of women, because for us, we cannot, I mean, be progressive, we cannot be a developed country if we forget, I mean, the heart of the population. And this is very fundamental for us, is thanks to the education, thanks to the role of Bourguiba, our first president, who pushed us to be, I mean, and then to be in the schools. And you know, school is compulsory for everybody till 16 years old, and it's very important. And you know, everywhere in the Arab world, you will find, I mean, the first women in different areas, always it's a Tunisian one, the first doctor, the first lawyer. And I mean, it's very important for us to keep this and to focus on the role of women, on the young girls, and to focus on education, so we can really, we can save this revolution, and we can also be, we can be glad and can to be Tunisian and to represent very well women everywhere.
And do you think that life of women changed before and after the revolution?
No, not at all. No.
Not at all.
Not
didn't
at all.
Didn't
No.
improve?
Maybe now, I mean, after the revolution, women are more, I mean, involved in the civil society. They have more the freedom to be
Vocal.
In some organization. No, not at all. Of course.
But also politically, the representation now it's quite.
It's not. Quite, I'm not so happy about this, but you know, it will take time to learn democracy. It will take time to learn how we can be more involved in politics. But I mean, I'm sure that, let's say, I'm confident that we'll find more women in politics. Yeah, it will take time, but now we have to. Even we have the legislation which is for this, I mean, especially in the election code, when we have a parity in lists, but also we need that women, they should be aware that they have a role to play, and they have to be involved, and they have to go also, not to just to wait that will carry them to this. So women, they should be, let's say, I mean, aggressive, but in the good sense. I mean, to be more confident and to think that they are able to do it.
But you mentioned that during the constitution drafting, the Islamic Party wanted to change and introduce.
Yes, they tried.
What kind of things did they want?
No, I mean, just for the first article of our constitution, just to apply the Sharia. But but you know, it was, I mean, for them it's a big fail, because you know, people the majority of Tunisians, they didn't accept this.
But there is also the law related to heritage, to equal heritage.
Yes.
It's still under discussion, the law?
Not yet, not for net yet. You know, as we got the new government and the new parliament, it's not on the table now, but I think it's time. I mean, we have other, I mean, priorities, but I think it will be there on the table, because it's, I mean, when I speak from the economic side, it's very important. If we'd like that women have to participate in the economic life, they should have some, I mean, we can offer, they have the possibility to go to the banks to have loans. If they don't have, they don't, I mean, they don't have a lot of lands or something like this, they will have more difficulties. So it's very important, I mean, to discuss this point, I mean, as soon as possible. It's just to save, sorry, just to save the dignity of women.
But I think what is also interesting for me from an outside point of view is also that, yes, Tunisia is quite advanced in terms of gender equality compared to other countries in the region, but these kind of laws are not in opposition with Islam. So there is a kind of integration, or at least apparent integration, or in any case, good, like positive relation between Islamic laws and the religion with women-friendly laws.
You know, we are, I mean, the majority of Tunisians are Muslim, and we respect our religion, and it's, I mean, written in our constitution. This is, we don't, I mean, for me, particularly, I'm not here to discuss this. And I respect, I mean, the religion, I am Muslim, but now we are in different time. now we need to work, and particularly for women, we need to have this freedom to be independent,
economic
independent, economical, and you know, it's everything is changing, and we need to, I mean, to follow this new technology, the revolution everywhere, the technology, the revolution in the economy. It's not against Islam, and it's not, but it's just for women, just to have this dignity, such to have this to be more independent and to be confident on themselves.
And what do you think are the, if you have to name the priorities for women today in Tunisia in relation to the economic and political participation, what do you say? What are the key challenges?
You know, now it's what is very important, what is very positive is now is the changement of the mentality in Tunisia. More and more, I mean, men and women, and I mean, especially, I mean, particularly for the young people, now they are thinking that they should be entrepreneurs. They should work in the private sector, and there are more and more who are involved in this entrepreneurship, and it is very important for them. It's very important to be independent and to have their own projects. But the main problem is in Tunisia now, we should reduce the bureaucracy. We should simplify the ways to be entrepreneur, and also to facilitate the access to the finance, because without finance we could not have project, and we could not succeed. So what will they do need? I mean, for me, it's the same case for women or for men now. Today is how we help them, how we can create a new world, how we can create a new environment where they can be entrepreneur in a country which respects the law, in a country where it's easy to have credit or to have loans, or in a country where it's easy to say we are we can. I mean, we like success, and we'd like to be, that you will be role models. We would like that you will be successful in your life and in your business. It's very important for us, and this is, I think, it's that's what we have. It's a changement of the mentality, but it's also the will of the politicians. What we do need now is the will of the politicians to listen to the and to try to make their desire. I mean, not in the papers or just by talking something, but in the real place.
Investing,
concrete decisions.
But this is quite clear. It's also a matter of capacity, I suppose, no? Because not all women have probably the capacity or the knowledge also to
yes, you are right. So that's why they do need, I mean, more training. They do need more assistance. They should. We should. I mean, the government or others. We should. I mean, take care of them, and by giving them all the information, and I mean, just to explain how we could, I mean, go in this new life as a private entrepreneur. It's not so easy, but it's possible to do.
And Utica is not organizing anything in this regard?
Yes, so, yes. No, yeah. For sure, yes. For sure, yes. You know, in the Utica we have this, it's a department of women entrepreneurs. It's this department was created in 1990. And this is it takes care about women entrepreneurs. It helps women, and it facilitates, and it's the voice of women entrepreneurs. But you know, the number is not so big. But that's why we have all of us. Even I'm not now in the UTK, but even as an entrepreneur, because still I'm an entrepreneur. We still work on this, and we still encourage young women to be entrepreneur. Even they can work at home. I mean, in the handicraft, now in the e-commerce. Look, I mean, this way. I mean, these days we are. I mean, the majority for us we are at home, and now each day we discover something new, especially for the e-commerce, and so we can do it at home.
Yeah, it's new. I think it could be also an opportunity, in a way.
Of course, yes.
To rethink also technology and how the technology.
Yeah. And I'm so glad and so happy to discover if each day there is something new, each day, and all those projects are, made by young people. It's very important, yes. Yeah.
But what about also women in the rural area or in the places? Because I think Tunisia is a kind of very unbalanced. Now, what is happening in Tunis or in the coastal cities is very different. What I saw from
yes, you are right. You are right. I mean, Tunisia is not just the big cities. Yes, even as women in the rural area, they work hard, very hard. They are responsible of their houses, and they are also responsible to have money and to provide money and to provide everything to them. But what is, I think we should have particular and special, let's say, special things to them, just to first. They should have their social security, they should the insurance, the transport. It's very important, to work on this. Yes, women in the rural
basic services. So
yes,
services, mobility, transport.
The women in the rural area in Tunisia, they don't have really, access for everything. We have. There is, long way to achieve this, but it's workable if we take care about them.
Yeah, and if you can say, you are traveling a lot, I know, to other countries to tell about the story of Tunisia and your role and what. So, if you can say what other countries that are also undergoing reforms, constitutional reforms and political reform, can learn from Tunisia in terms specifically of women engagement, what you could say, what are the let's say ingredients or 3 key messages that you would like to tell to these countries?
I'm member of the Council of Gender Equality. It was a council. It was decided by Trudeau when he was the president of the G7, and after Macron, he continued this. And I was nominated by President Macron to be a member of this council. And in this council, our role was to provide a bouquet of laws. Just to help women and to have this equality between men and women. And I was really very surprised. And at the same time, I was very honored and was very glad to say that approximately we have everything as women in the paper. We have all the laws except just one, but compared to even developed countries, because in this country we are 35 personalities from everywhere, and we put on the table all the laws, the best laws everywhere, and we decided, to take the best laws and to push the politicians to have this bouquet of laws. And for us as Tunisian, we have everything.
In terms of law,
of course, yes. I think this is very important, because you have first, we need to have this legislation. It's very important if we'd like to be a democratic country. We have to respect the law, but we should have. I mean, the basic is to have laws, and of course, for the practice, we need to have the will of politicians, and we need also to have the role of the civil society to push politicians to adopt this. What I can say is, yes, when I'm traveling, I'm always, very, very glad, and I'm always very sensitive. That the people they have very good image about Tunisia. It's very important for us everywhere in our world, in other worlds, and for me, it's a big honor that people now everywhere they know about Tunisia, they know about the Tunisian Spring, and they know about women. This is, for me, this is very important. But if you have, a message for women, I said, you represent the half of the population. You should keep on, and you should ask for your rights. Second, you should be more present everywhere. You should not be afraid. You should not be. You should be confident that you are able to be in different positions. The third key message is to say that together, men and women, we can change the world, because it's not possible to change the world by ourselves. We don't need men with us. We don't need that they have the mentality of men who have to be changed, and they have to accept, and they have to be convinced that together we could change the world, and together we could make our countries different.
Yes, so on this, the fact that women together, also in a dialogue with men, need to change, need to be confident. I think Aswad Nisa, which is an organization, and Sonia, which is also with us, they are doing a great job in campaigning and keeping also the attention on the topic. So I would like to ask Sonia the same question that I asked to Widad. So what are the challenges for you, for women in Tunisia, in relation to cultural participation and political participation?
So just like Widad said, there are several challenges that women still have to face. And so women were part of the revolution every step of the way. They were part of it. But we still have a lot of problems and challenges when it comes to political participation. First of them being Tunisia's patriarchal system. So this, we will see it in terms of women's appointment to decision-making positions. Those appointments are very low. In the previous parliament, for example, the percentage related to women participation was of 36%, whereas now, after the 2019 legislative elections, we only have 24% of MPs who are women. So here we see a significant decrease since 2014. Besides, in 2020, the Prime Minister appointed the new government, so we only have 6 women out of 32 ministers and secretaries of state. So this is the first challenge, the first big challenge that women still have to face. And when we also talk to the young women politicians whom we've worked with, they brought up a lot the topic of family charges, and the fact that, for example, within the political parties, meetings could be held in cafes on the weekend or at night. And because in Tunisia, household chores are considered to be more women's work, those women could not attend the meetings, or they didn't feel safe enough to go out at night to attend those meetings. So they were kept out of important decisions within their political parties because of that. We then talked about capacity building programs in terms of economy, but also politically speaking, there are not a lot of capacity building programs destined for women. So this is a big challenge for them. And women do not benefit from a great media coverage in Tunisia. They're not invited to speak in popular programs, popular political programs. So if we take a look at a report that was published by the HICA, which is the Independent High Authority for Audiovisual Communication, during the 2014 legislative elections, women only benefited from 15% of the airtime and speaking time on TV, which is very low in consideration in comparison to men, who benefited from 85% of that time. And when we take a look at the 2018 local elections, the speaking time percentage for women was of 21% on the national radio, and only 18% of airtime on the national television. So those are very, very low.
But also you mentioned also the domestic responsibilities.
Yes,
no? That sometimes
exactly.
women
Yes.
are also present publicly, or they can perform an economic role, but then they have also to perform domestically at home. So
yes,
this is also probably is more a cultural shift that needs to happen.
Exactly. As I was saying, household chores are still considered to be women's work in Tunisia. So for their family, they have to take care of the kids, take care of the house, and they want to have a career, a political career. But here we'll have political parties who kind of will put them aside, or put them or keep them out of the decisions, because they won't be thinking of their needs in terms of logistics, or in those terms. So they will just schedule meetings out of, not on weekends, as I was saying, or at night time. So yeah.
But with that, there was also saying about this extraordinary history, of women's engagement, participation, that these laws that were even a reference at the G7, during the G7 discussion about gender. What do you think, what is your assessment? What made the situation? What were the circumstances or the factors that create this very positive, at least at a low level, for women?
Well, you mean politically?
In general, culturally, politically, what were the key factors, do you think, that create this enabling and positive space for women?
Well, in Tunisia, it's very important to say, like Ridet said, we have a very strong civil society and strong women rights organization that they were in every step of the way during the revolution and during the drafting of the constitution. So that's how we have a constitution that guarantees equality between men and women with articles, for example, 21 or 46. So we have everything in theory, as she was saying also, but there is a long way to go in terms of putting those laws into practice. But civil society has advocated for so many years to have important laws, for example, like the law combating violence against women in 2017, or again in 2019 with the drafting of the organic budget law, and having an article that guarantees gender-sensitive budgeting in the state's budget. So it's very much civil society and women's rights organizations here.
But there was also, during the constitution drafting, there was this slogan, not turning back the clock on the right of Tunisian women.
Of course, yes.
So this was also extremely important, to keep this attention to the history and to the rights of women in Tunisia.
It's very, activists and the civil society was on the street, where they were always advocating, always lobbying to have those rights. So yeah, it's very important.
We also know that you mentioned briefly that there is this electoral parity law clause that stipulates that women should constitute at least 50% of all electoral party lists at all levels of elected council. And so women at the local council positions have represent 47% of the elected council, which is an extraordinary result compared also to, I don't know, Danish municipalities. So I think women are there in a way, no? They have been elected, but what is next? What do you think?
So yeah, it's true that women are there. I mean, this law is very important. That's how we ended up with 47% of women in the local council positions. But let's say that it's not enough to have a great number of women sitting in the municipal elections. Those women need to be agents of change. They need to instigators of change on gender equality in their community, and that's what we are trying to do. As what Nisse prepared women for the local elections, several of them won their seats. So we have to remember also that the 2018 elections were the first after the 2011 revolution. So it's a very new experience for all of them and for us as well. So we will keep on working with them in order for them to be those change makers within their community. And they will have to listen to the people and take into consideration their needs. But we also have to remember that some of the people that are on the local councils are not sensitized to issues related to gender equality, for example. So they do not necessarily know how to use tools at their disposal, for example, to conduct gender sensitive local public policies or gender sensitive budgeting. So we'll have to be, we have to be with them. We have to support them. And yeah, that's it pretty much, yes.
So the everyday presence, no? Because I suppose there are a lot of programs like workshop or ad hoc projects. Yeah, but what is missing is like kind of presence every day to really support this change.
Yes, so yeah, we'll have to be with them. We'll have to support them because as I was saying, it's all very new to them. So they need that support. They need that knowledge in order to help their community.
And what are you working on this moment? With Aswarnissa, what are the campaign and projects that you are following?
So right now we're working on the municipal council. So we're working on both at the local and national level. On the local level, we're working on the municipal councils in Beja and Benin with city alliances. Yes. And we're working on gender equality and gender sensitive budgeting in that area. We're also monitoring the work of the parliament when it comes to gender equality and integrating the gender aspect in security-related legislations. So here, when we say security, what we mean is that human security. So it's a very broad spectrum. And as we were saying at the beginning of this webinar, is that we are in confinement and women are
at home.
I'm sorry. So yeah, so they are at home, and many of them, unfortunately, so we still have gender-based violence, and we are right now monitoring the application of the law 58 about combating violence against women in Tunisia through the AIDA movement and the Facebook group in order here to fight sexual violence. Maybe I'll introduce.
Women can report.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah. I'm just going to introduce maybe a little bit more the AIDA movement and Facebook group. Maybe not a lot of people know about it. I don't know.
Okay, please. Yeah, I think it's similar to the Me Too movement.
Yes, yes, exactly. It is similar in a way. So this movement started in October 2019. So it was a few months ago. It all started with the story of a high school student who was sexually harassed by a man who later got elected and became an MP in Nebel. And her story kind of gave courage to a lot of women to speak up about their stories or of sexual violence that they went through. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you weren't.
No, it's
Okay.
the sound of children outside.
Okay.
I will mute my microphone maybe.
No, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, and that's how the AIDA movement kind of was born. It was born on Twitter, and then it kind of went viral everywhere in Tunisia. And we decided to create the Facebook group #AIDA, which now has more than 24,000 people on it, members on it. And this is a community, this is a platform for people to speak up, to tell their stories, to maybe exchange, let's say, procedures in terms of what to do when you're sexually harassed or when you're a victim of sexual violence or when you're a victim of gender-based violence. So it's very important. So the goal here is to also know better the law, this new law that we have. And after that story, several men and women talked about their own stories. Some of those stories took place in universities, in the streets, or even at schools. And now we're following the case of the young girl of Nebel who was sexually harassed. But we're also following the story of another young girl who was sexually harassed by her high school teacher. We've held several press conferences in order to give the media the right information about the cases and to not spread misinformation about those cases because they are very important. We also, before the coronavirus, crisis, we launched a campaign against sexual violence. So March was supposed to be March Against Sexual Violence. And we went to several universities in order to raise awareness on sexual violence and gender-based violence and to better explain Law 58 combating violence against women. But that's what we will still be doing once this crisis will be behind us, I hope, soon.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's also important to reflect on how, because I think this crisis will be quite long. The effects will be quite long term. So I think it's very important to start now to think about how to support, for example, women and mention economic empowerment, economic engagement from today with the kind of long, and of course, as Cities Alliance, we would like to engage and to discuss ways even in this situation, in the circumstances, how we can do that. So maybe with the online trainings, maybe with some kind of community engagement, ad hoc community engagement, we have to think about.
Yes. Mostly because we've seen so many sexist posts on Facebook during this time. So there is still a lot of gender-based violence on social media. Yeah. People don't really understand the danger of gender-based violence on social media. So it's baffling. It's very, it's shocking.
Yes. Thank you for this. Also, this story and this description. I would like maybe to conclude this conversation. Is very interesting conversation. I would like to maybe to say what I've learned from this conversation with both of you. If we can say what makes the Tunisia case so unique in terms of women's engagement is, and what are the ingredients or the elements that we can identify. The first one is the early mobilizations that is an important foundation for women's participation in every political change. So there is an history, there is an education behind. There is then the dialogue has been said, is so important. So identifying and acting on shared interest to create a change, to create power. So even if there are a division and division also between women in different political camps or from different political groups, it's very important to recognize common goals to achieve gains on gender equality. This has been done also in Tunisia in the past. Then we also said that participations happens both inside the institutions and the politics, but also outside with civic society mobilization, youth mobilization, mass action. So it's a combination of political dialogue and mobilization. And what to do next? We said capacity building for elected women in terms of politics, parties, representatives. So keep supporting that and creating space for women, both at media level and political level. Second is support the economic independence, economic empowerment, also through technology. And this is even more important now in this very strange phase. So be inventive and find a way to empower women in this sense. And then keep saying, acting, reporting, being vigilant. These are, I think, 3 elements that we have to work on. You want to, both of you, any final message on this with that?
You said everything. I think it's, thank you for you. And
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.